All right, guys, comfort food season is here. The weather's been terrible. It's been cold and rainy, and it got me thinking about some of my childhood favorites, one of which used to be the banquet chicken pot pie, the type that will burn your mouth but still be frozen in the middle. Well, today I'm going to show you guys how to make it homemade. For the most part, we're going to take a couple shortcuts and make it nice, quick, and easy and inexpensive for you. Meet me in the kitchen. Let's make it happen. All right, so first things first, we're going to go ahead and get our prep work done. The first thing I want to do is start on our stock. Now, earlier I said we're going to take a few shortcuts. One of the ways you can get more bang for your buck is making a makeshift, quick and easy stock. It's not making it completely from scratch, but this is how I like to do it, just to jazz it up a little bit. Adds tons of flavor. We're going in with 2 onions. You can leave the skin on when you're doing this. No need to remove it. It's actually give your broth or your stock a little bit of color. So just cut 2 onions in half. We got some carrots. We got some garlic. We're using the chicken carcass from the rotisserie chicken. That's one of the shortcuts that we're taking, is using rotisserie chicken from the store instead of making our own. And then for added flavor, we got some smoked turkey wings. To me, that's going to add an element of flavor to your stock that's reminiscent of like the holidays, savory, super delicious. And now, my friends, it's time to prep the veggies that's actually going to go into the pot pie. So here we have an onion and a half. We're going to dice that up. If you have a large onion, you can just use 1. Leave the root intact. You guys have seen me do this before, but this is the easiest way to dice an onion. Now, earlier we were talking about a few shortcuts and ways to make this dish a little bit more flavorful. So the shortcut being the rotisserie chicken and the puff pastry. Now, if you ask me, is homemade puff pastry better than store-bought? The answer is yes. But is it worth all the extra work? In my opinion, that answer is no. But making the stock the way we're doing today, I think that is the more bang for your buck. You're gonna get a more flavorful product, a more flavorful pot pie that way. And the store-bought puff pastry is fine. So once you have your mirepoix prepped, which is celery, onions, and carrots, we're gonna go ahead and prep our mushrooms. Make sure you clean them, wash them off, and then hit them with a paper towel. Make sure you get all the dirt off of there. If you don't like mushrooms, you should grow up, or you can leave them out of the dish. But we're gonna add them to ours. So after a couple hours, you should have the most flavorful chicken broth you've ever tasted. This is perfect for things like collard greens, butter beans, stuffing during the holidays, or you can use it for any recipes like chicken pot pie. We're gonna go ahead and strain it. We need 3 cups for this. We'll save the rest. You can season it to taste. If it needs a little salt, you can add that. But we added that chicken bouillon powder. It shouldn't need much. I've already tasted it. You can also take that smoked turkey and add it to your pot pie if you want to. I'm actually making a recipe after this video that we're going to use that for. So today we're just using the rotisserie chicken. Next up, we're going to add 6 tablespoons of butter to a skillet over medium heat. Don't call my heart doctor. We'll let that butter melt, and then we're going in with our mirepoix plus the mushrooms. Allow that to cook down, sweat down, get nice and tender. Then we're going to start to season it up. Add our garlic paste, Italian paste. Then add our flour, which is going to be the thickening agent. And then that sort of kind of homemade chicken stock we just made. Trust me on that, guys. Any recipe that calls for chicken stock, if you've got a couple extra minutes or a couple extra hours, I should say, it makes a huge difference. You can put that in the refrigerator and use it anytime you need to. In goes the veggies for health. To offset the damn near stick of butter. Now we're going to begin to season this. I'm going in with my all-purpose seasoning, which is a blend of salt, pepper, garlic, onion powder, things like that, and a little lemon bae, kind of almost like some Cajun flavors with a little bit of pop of a lemon zest. Pairs nicely with chicken. You can use whatever Cajun blend you like, any all-purpose seasoning you like, or you can keep it real simple, just a little salt and pepper. You definitely want to season it with something though. The salt in the seasoning is going to help the water kind of expel from those veggies, get them to sweat down. You want to season all the way through. Next, we're going in with our garlic paste and Italian paste, about a tablespoon of each. And then a teaspoon of Better Than Bouillon chicken base. I would suggest using the low sodium variety if you have it, if you have any sodium concerns. They definitely have a low sodium option out there for you guys. Lower sodium because it's still kind of high in sodium if we're being honest, but This is a big meal, lots of servings, probably, you know, at least 10 servings here, so not super concerned with that. But taste as you go and adjust the flavor to your preference, as I always say. Get that worked in. Once you notice that the veggies are starting to get tender, that's when we'll go in with the all-purpose flour. As an optional ingredient, I like to add just a pinch of red pepper flakes just for a little bit of background heat. It's gonna add a little bit of, you know, a nice element to the flavor profile. Plus about a teaspoon of worst word in the world sauce. Again, gonna add some umami. We're gonna give that a mix, and then we're going in with a 1/3 cup of all-purpose flour. So after you cook down the all-purpose flour for a minute or so, we're going in with 3 cups of chicken broth. Bring that up to a boil. You should start to notice that everything is thickening up a bit, like us after the holidays. We're gonna go ahead and allow this to simmer and reduce. It'll thicken. We'll add in the cream, the chicken, the peas, all that good stuff. And you're gonna taste it, make sure the flavor is just right, and then we'll get to work on our puff pastry. Now it's time to add the protein to the party. We're going in with our rotisserie chicken. Again, one of the cheat codes or, you know, ways to speed this process up a little bit. You can make your own chicken or use leftover chicken, whatever you want. But in a dish like pot pie, fresh, you know, roasted chicken, you know, probably is a little overkill unless you're just trying to go all out and impress everybody. Leftover chicken, rotisserie chicken, something like that's perfect to be repurposed for something like a pot pie. So we got that in there. Next, we're going in with our heavy cream. And then last but not least, we're gonna add our peas, because we're adults and peas are good for you. At least that's what they used to tell us. It's looking like pot pie already. We're gonna hit that with just a pinch of parsley for a pop of color. And then obviously the peas are gonna add more green to the party as well. Next up, we're gonna work on our puff pastry. Again, store-bought. Is homemade better? Yes, marginally. Particularly for something like a pot pie. If we were talking about baking, then I may feel differently about it. If you're gonna invest the time into making something homemade, I think your best bet is to do it with the stock like we did today. And then cut a couple corners with the rotisserie chicken and the puff pastry. So we're gonna roll this out. We're gonna cut it into squares. And then we'll layer it on top of our pot pie. You could also use biscuit dough. You can use pie crust. A number of different ways to do this, but today we're using puff pastry. If I can get it off of here. Just even it out, try to make sure it's not gonna stick, which should have put a little flour down. This will end up in the blooper reel, I'm sure. But there we go. Gonna grab a pizza cutter, even her out a little bit, and then just cut squares. Doesn't have to be perfect, it's all going to bake together, puff up, hence the name puff pastry. Quick reminder guys, all the specific measurements and ingredients for this recipe can be found in the description box below. Make sure you check that out. Once you got your filling in your 12-inch cast iron skillet, we're going to start adding that puff pastry. I'm going to start in the middle. No right or wrong way to do this guys, you just want to cover, you know, most of the surface area. You can try to make a cute little design if you want, but we're gonna let it overlap a little bit, and as it bakes, it'll all kind of come together a little bit more. Next up, we're gonna take 1 egg and just brush the egg wash over the puff pastry just to help encourage it to brown up nicely, get nice and crispy. We're gonna pop this in a 400-degree oven for about 30 to 35 minutes, or until it's golden brown and beautiful and bubbly. And this is the part where I say, brace yourself for a trademark money shot. Say it with me guys, looking good. The only thing left to do is dig in here for the taste test, but before we do that, please take a quick second to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that bell to enable notifications as well. All right. Let's get in here and see what we got. Puff pastry is beautiful, nice and crisp, golden brown. Just break on in there. Oh man. Come on now. Jesus. The world needs more of that. All right, guys, you guys have got to try this one. The weather outside is frightful, but the chicken pot pie is delightful, or whatever they said in the song. Come on. Too much puff pastry, not on the diet. Here we go. Cheers.